Good day, ladies and gentlemen. You are welcome to our channel once again. In today's video, we want to look into the area of how to use manager.io for real estate businesses. If you are into real estate business or you want to set up manager.io for real estate business, I want you to be attentive for today's tutorial on how to use manager.io for real estate business. We have prepared a starter kit in form of PDF file that we can use to guide us in the setup of manager.io for real estate businesses. This is a practical chart of accounts setup and day-to-day workflow. So we are going to follow this setup in preparation for the setup of the uh, real estate business. Therefore, to set up real estate business on manager.io, you need to first of all activate all the modules that are useful from customized button from your summary page. When you get to the customized button, you will see all these tabs, and then you need to activate all the tabs, all the modules that will be useful for the setup. Now, we are going to make use of bank and cash account module, receipt payment, inter-account transfer, customer, sales, invoice, credit notes, supplier, purchase invoice, debit notes, project, employee payslip, fixed asset, depreciation, and the rest. After that, you click update. All this module will populate in the side, in the left hand side here. So from there, we move on to the setup proper. So if we go by the starter kit, manager.io starter kit for the real estate business, this starter kit, you will have access to it from the description on the video. On this video, you go there, you see the link where you can download this starter kit free of charge so that you can make use of it if you want to create your chart of accounts and day-to-day workflow on the real estate business. Real estate business has a peculiar type of account setup whereby one is to look at the area by which this particular business is being operated and guide them in the setting up of the business. So from here, we are going to follow this particular guide and going by the setup that has been here. We are going to look at it one after the other. So if you download this setup, you can go through it, and then from there we know proper what we are saying. Now, if you go to the checklist, one time setup checklist here, it is a way of telling you some aspect of the setup that you need to check very well before you leave this setup. Now, under this checklist, you will see the setup item, business detail. You are going to look into the business detail. You will set up the business detail. You will set up the chart of accounts, bank and cash account, customer or tenant, supplier or vendor, division, stroke properties, projects, and the item versus recurring invoices. As likewise, tax code, filters, and log date. We are going to look into all these setup items and where we can find it in manager.io and how to configure it and the reason why there matters concerning the setting up of real estate business. Now let's start from the business detail. When you go back to the manager.io, when you go to the settings, you will see business detail. When you click on it, you will see the name of the business here. Unlike this, our test company, ABC Property Test Company. So we input the address of the business here. You input the address of the business here. If you have a logo for the business under image, when you will choose the file and your logo will appear here. After doing that, you click update and your business detail is set up. Now that is how to set up business detail. Now how to configure it, you enter the entity name, the address, the tax registration, the base currency, and the rest. So these are the things that will appear on your invoice, on your report, and every form and every report that you generate for this business. The next to it is a chart of accounts. Chart of account, you get there from settings. You go to chart of account. Let's go there. Now, right beside the business detail, you will see chart of accounts. When you click chart of accounts, it will take you to the two column, the profit and loss statement and the balance sheet. So these two sides, you have to set it up properly and you have to tailor it towards a real estate business. So we are going to deal with it one after the other. Now let's go back and look at, we are going to come back to the chart of accounts because these are the account group that determine how the system or the software will be operating for the particular business. So we are going to come back to it when we move down to the chart of accounts. Now move to the bank and cash account. When you go back to this to the manager.io business, you will see under the module bank and cash account. When you click it, it will take you to new bank or cash account. This is where you will create bank and cash account. When you click new, you put in the name of the bank that you want to create. Bank XYZ. For instance, you can put in like this. If you have a code to identify the bank, you put in there and you create. So when you create, it will form part of the bank that you have on the list of the bank and cash. So as a result, you can be using it to operate your system. Then going back to our checklist, you will see customer stroke tenant. Here, if you want to want to follow up the records of your customer in the real estate business, your tenants are your customers. So if you to create customer, you go to customer module. Let's go there. You go to customer module. This is customer module at the left hand side. When you click it, it will take you to customer and the control account. It is under account receivable. So you create the name of the customer. When you click new, when you click customer, it will take you to where you will the form where you will create new customers. So that is how to create customer. Then supplier, the same thing. The supplier module is also here on the models. So this supplier is just like opposite of customer. So we have division. You create division for property or portfolio. So in order to have in order to segregate your portfolio, that is where in order to track it with profit and loss and balance sheet, you need to create it on a divisional basis. So each tracking work for the division. So that is for division. And then for project, you create project only for significant unit terms. Like if you have a special development phase, you make it as a project in order to track the cost, you track the cost, you track the revenue, and you know the performance of that particular project. And it's still part of the real estate business. Then items, you go when the items on real estate business, they are you create it under non-inventory item. Non-inventory item and non-inventory item here, they are item that does not require tracking of the quantity. So as a result of that, when you get to settings, you create it under non-inventory items. So when you get to the manager here, you go to settings. From settings, you will see non-inventory item, you activate it, and then you create it one after the other. The first one we created here is base rent, other income, property sales, revenue, quantity, so that when you raise invoice, sales invoice, you'll be able to pick them as item. Only that you are not going to track quantity on it. It is a service item. So let's go back to our checklist. So recurrent invoice. You go to settings and you see the recurrent invoice. Task code, it is under setting, footer under setting, and you lock it. So we want to check the chart of account now to proceed on the creation of all these chart of accounts. Now, under the group, you will see current assets. Group current assets. When you get to the chart of accounts, from settings to chart of accounts, when you get to the chart of accounts, on the balance sheet side, you will see group and new account. Now we have from our checklist here, from our suggested chart of account, we see under the group, you see current assets. Under this current assets, that is where we have bank, that is where we have some banks, account receivable, and the others. So to create the current assets group, you go to you click new group and you type in current assets and you set up where you want the group to belong. Maybe asset group or liability group. Now from this one that we have created, if you look at it here, we create current group and the group belongs to assets. So that is how this group is being created. So under this group, we have account receivable, we have cash and bank equivalent, we have prepaid expenses. All these current assets components, some of them are created by default. Unlike this account receivable, it is created by default. Whenever you create at least one customer, the account receivable ledger in the balance sheet will be activated by default. So by the virtue of you creating the customer, we have the account receivable created, and the account receivable is there to track your customers movement. Likewise, the cash and cash equivalent will be created automatically when you have at least one bank. on your bank and cash account. So the prepaid expenses is what you create yourself. When you click account, new account, it is not a group, it's an account. When you click new account like this, let's let's look at it. When you want to check it, you can click edit. You will see prepaid expenses. Under you select the group of the balance sheet where it will fall. So under current assets, you select the current asset. Cash flow statement, it is an uh, operating activities. So you create it newly, or you update it if it is to be updated. So that is group of current assets. The same thing applicable to the group of non-current assets. The group of non-current assets, the ledger that will be created by default here is fixed assets. Once you have at least one fixed asset like this, the system will automatically create ledger for the fixed asset in the on the non-current asset chart of accounts. So here we have on our list here, we have accounts, we have new account created for construction in progress. That is development work in progress. That is if there is any asset that is being uh, expended money on, it is being uh, posted on the construction in progress. That is an asset, but non-current asset for the company. Then fixed asset accumulated depreciation. If you are migrating or you are continuing the business and you have accumulated depreciation you want to carry forward, this is where it will be recorded. And if you have all the fixed asset as well, will be depreciated into this accumulated depreciation. Then you have furniture, fixtures and equipment is an asset, so it will fall under non-current asset. All these can be created by new accounts. Then we move to liability. Under liability, you can have group of current liability and non-current liability. The current liability, we have account payable, which is created by default. Immediately you create a supplier, account payable is activated. And then we have accrued expenses, which you can create with new account. Then we have tax payable, which is also a function of you activating tax code on the settings. Once you activate at least one sales tax, it will be created by default. Then we have tenant security depot, which you can create that one with a new account. You can as well create or hand rent. Then non-current liability like mortgage, the mortgage can be created by new account. This is how to create a group and account under the balance sheet. The equity, it is this inter-account transfer, it is created by default. Owner's capital, you can create it as part of your equity, and then you have your retained earning that is there by default. The revaluation reserve can be created through account and you pick equity. This is how to create chart of account for the settings. Then we move to the profit and loss statement. In profit and loss statement, you have a group of income and you have a group of expenses. Income and expenses. So the first group of income, under that, you make a new account for property sales revenue, base rent, other income, utilities recharge. All these are income that are associated with real estate business. Likewise, expenses, cost of property sold. If you look at the income, you will see property sales revenue, the cost of that sales revenue, sales property, is the cost of property sold under the expenses. Then contracted services is an expenses leg two. Then fixed asset depreciation. This fixed asset depreciation is created by default by the time you activate your fixed assets, and the depreciation also will come up. Marketing, lease, commission, all these are expenses. Repairs and maintenance, they are all expenses. You can have as many as possible expenses like this. Then you click new account. For instance, you want to add salary. If you want to add salary and wages, these are these expenses. Then you click under the profit and loss and you click expenses. So cash flow statement is operating, it is under operating activities. Then you click create. When you click it like that, see the salary and wages has fall under expenses. So it is added to it. You can create as many as possible expenses and income. So this is chart of accounts. When you go to uh, our starter kit, manager.io starter kit, you will see the chart of account here, all the current assets that you can create, all the non-current assets, all the liabilities and income of the business, and the cost of sales, the cost of property sold, then operating expenses. When you download this, you can go through it one after the other. All these are operating expenses. So we want to move into the workflow of this particular business. That is the practical transaction workflow. How to create form, how to make workflow in the on the business. For instance, monthly rent bill. If you want to post monthly rent bill, you you can go to let's go to the business. Here there are two ways to post your monthly rent bill. If you have a rent that is paid for immediately, you can come to receipt. If it is paid for immediately, you come to receipt, you click new receipt. The reference, it is advisable you make it automatic. Then you come to the bank where you receive the money. Then you come to the item. Remember we have created all these item under non-inventory item. So you click base rent. If the amount of the rent is, for instance, 50,000, please 50,000, 500,000. If it is 500,000, you can make it that. Then if the tax code, if you are adding, like for instance, value added tax, you pick the tax code that has been created. Then if you have, if it has a specific division, you pick the division, like house house sales or rent, and you pick the division of rent. So from there you create it. This is the one way of creating the money received for rent. Another way, if it is credit, if the customer has not paid, but you need to track payment, so you go to sales invoice, click new sales invoice. When you click new sales invoice, it will take you to where you pick the name of the customer, and then where you pick the item to be rent. You pick the quantity is one. You put the amount here on the units. You put the amount on the unit price. You pick the VAT, and then you pick the division. So that is how to post this one, that is says invoice. So that is rent. If you have a recurrent rent template, you can read on it here also. So the posting results, is to debit the account receivable and to credit the base rent income. So the invoice is established in this way that the tenant or the customer owes you and the record is appropriate. So the tax payable, the tax aspect of it for like sales tax or VAT will be recorded under the tax aspect. So to record rent received, that is when if you have used a sales invoice, you go to receipt, new receipt, and you create it based on the sales invoice. We have treated that in the past. Then if you have a prepaid rent, you can use this receipt to new receipt and you pick a prepaid rent. So invariably this is how you need to create to use manager.io for real estate business. After you might have created everything, when you have any transaction like money is coming in, you use receipts. And if it is from customer that is owing, if you are paying, the customer is paying this bill, you can go to view and you can copy to receipt. When you click copy to receipt, it will take this particular money to receipt and you can just uh, tick the reference to be automatic, and then you pick the customer is already pick already, you pick the bank where the money will be paid to, and if you have any description you put it there. Then you create, once you create, you have received the money. Then this is how you will be able to use manager.io for real estate business. If you have question, just drop it in the comments. And if you know that you want to create or use manager.io for real estate business, and there is one way or the other you don't get one aspect or the other, you can reach out to us for free support service where we guide you on one-on-one guide on uh, how to create your account on manager.io for real estate business. So this particular checklist and the starter kit that we use, you will see the direct, you will see the link on the description on how to download it, how to get it from the you will get it from the description for free. You just see the link there, you download it and you read it and you make use of it. So this is the real estate business. We have others for wholesale business, school accounting, retail business, restaurant. We have for pharmacy, for non-profit organization, for microfinance business, for manufacturing business, insurance, and the rest. So when you download, there is a link that will take you to where you can get other starter bundle that can guide you on how to set it up on manager.io. Thank you for today's tutorial, and next time we meet. Thank you.